On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel carried out a massive wave of coordinated strikes across Iran. Military bases, missile infrastructure, and nuclear facilities were hit in one of the largest opening military actions in recent history. However, Iran's response didn't rely on immediate missile attacks. Instead, the focus shifted to a far more sensitive point, a narrow maritime corridor only 21 miles wide. Within a short period, global oil prices surged above $120 per barrel. Iraq reduced output because export routes became unstable. Qatar suspended contractual obligations under force majeure, signaling that normal trade conditions no longer applied. Several countries introduced emergency energy restrictions. Even the International Energy Agency released strategic oil reserves on an unprecedented scale, but the effect only delayed the shock rather than stopping it. The core issue wasn't the direct military conflict. It was the realization that global stability depends on a single geographic choke point. Oil tankers carrying billions in cargo remained stranded because one actor understood a critical principle. Global systems don't need to be destroyed to be disrupted. They only need to lose access to a key passage. That passage is the Strait of Hormuz, located between Iran and Oman. It is one of the most strategically important waterways in the world. Around 20 million barrels of oil pass through it daily, roughly 1/5 of global consumption. Major producers such as Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and Qatar all depend on this route to reach global markets. Large volumes of liquefied natural gas also flow through the same corridor, supplying energy to Europe and Asia. There are very few alternatives. Some pipelines exist, but they were built decades ago and handle only a fraction of the total volume. For years, global powers assumed that the strait would remain open indefinitely, so large-scale alternatives were never developed. That assumption created long-term dependency. The impact is global. China imports a significant portion of its oil through Hormuz. Japan relies on it for a large share of its energy supply. South Korea, India, and Taiwan face similar exposure. Europe is also indirectly dependent through natural gas shipments from the Gulf region. But the significance of the strait goes beyond energy. It is also a major route for fertilizers, industrial chemicals, aluminum, plastics, and even medical helium. Disruption here affects agriculture, manufacturing, and healthcare far beyond the Middle East. Historically, control of this region has always meant control of trade. In the early 16th century, Portuguese forces recognized that dominating a narrow maritime exit could generate enormous leverage. They captured Hormuz and controlled regional commerce for over a century. Later, other empires replaced them, but the strategic logic remained unchanged. Whoever controls the passage controls access to global markets. In modern times, Iran and neighboring states inherited this strategic pressure. During the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, both sides targeted oil tankers in an attempt to weaken each other economically. Despite heavy conflict, international shipping continued, though under constant threat and military escort. Today, Iran holds a unique geographic advantage because it controls territory and islands directly within the strait. This allows it to monitor and potentially influence nearly all maritime traffic passing through. At the same time, global naval power is heavily concentrated nearby. The United States Fifth Fleet operates in Bahrain, only minutes away from the strait. It includes aircraft carriers, destroyers, and submarines designed to secure critical shipping routes. However, even this level of military presence does not guarantee control. The Strait of Hormuz is narrow, congested, and difficult to fully secure. Small, fast-moving boats can blend into civilian traffic, and naval mines can be deployed cheaply and at scale, making clearance operations slow and complex. Even more important than military risk is financial risk. Global shipping depends on insurance markets, especially in London. When tensions rise, insurers immediately increase premiums or withdraw coverage entirely. Without insurance, commercial shipping becomes effectively impossible, not because ships cannot sail, but because no operator will risk uninsured cargo, crew, or vessels. This creates a situation where military forces may secure a route physically, while economic systems still refuse to use it. Markets react instantly to uncertainty, often faster than governments can respond. Eventually, Crises tend to resolve because the same countries causing disruption also depend on the passage for their own exports. However, once stability returns, long-term structural changes are usually avoided due to cost and political complexity. As a result, the system resets rather than evolves, leaving the same vulnerability in place for the future.